8,000 years ago, and the people in different regions of India took to agriculture and village life, but it was very slow, children. Immediately they did not start it, they started it very slowly. And the reason behind it is that they don't know the agricultural pattern. That means they don't know when to sow the crops, when the crops will be grown, and when it is the time of the harvest. So that's the reason it took some time for them to understand the crop pattern, and in the meantime most of the people practiced hunting and food gathering as earlier. In the Indian subcontinent, that is talking about our country India, it happened somewhere around 5,000 years ago, again in the northern western parts in Balochistan. Then it came to Sindh, Punjab and Gujarat. Can you see, children? The places are highlighted in red color. So the civilization started from Balochistan, then it went to Sindh, Punjab and Gujarat. When archaeologists got the information about these places, they went and they started excavating the sites. They were not knowing the actual names of these places or what was the name given to these places in their times, but they only found the remains in these places. And these famous cities of Indus Valley civilization are Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Kalibangan, see children, it is highlighted in black color, and Lothal in Gujarat. Yes, so these are the famous cities of Indus Valley civilization, and these are some of the ancient cities of our subcontinent India. These cities were spread from Afghanistan in the north to Gujarat in the south, and Punjab and Haryana in the east, and Balochistan in the west, and all these places are having some features in common, and because of these common features, archaeologists gave the name as a Harappan culture to this particular phase of history. It is also called that the Indus Valley civilization, as most of the important sites of the culture were situated in the plains watered by the river Indus and its tributaries. I told you earlier, children, because the civilization was established on the banks of river Indus and its tributaries, it is called as Indus Valley civilization. Now here comes your activity, children. With the help of this map, you have to write the name of the places where the Indus and its tributaries flow. You can take the screenshot of this map, children, and you can complete the activity later. I suppose you all have taken the screenshot of this map. Please complete the activity. Now let us move further with our lesson. Now let us learn about the lifestyle of the people of the Harappan culture. When we are talking about the Harappan culture, from that time we are using the word cities. Cities means a place where a large number of people are living, but all the people in the cities are not having the same occupation, that is growing of the crops and animal herding. It means they are all having the different types of livelihood. All the people who have moved to the cities have taken up the different types of livelihood based upon their talent and skills. And the cities primarily have the people from 3 or 4 kinds of profession, and the first among them are the artisans. Artisans like potters, metalsmiths, that means the people who are making beautiful articles using the metal. Then carpenter, the people who are working with the wood and making beautiful furniture and articles made of wood are called as carpenters. Then we have masons, the people who construct the houses and buildings are called as masons, and then we have some stone cutters, etc. So these are one of the type of the profession which was taken up by the people of Harappa. And the second profession which was taken up by the people of Harappa were the traders. That means most of the people have taken up the trading, that is buying and selling of the goods, and these goods are sold both inside and outside the city. They will be getting the products from other places and selling it in their cities. Similarly, they will be selling their products to the people of the other cities outside their own city. The third profession is the rulers. It is not the profession, children, it is about the administrative part. The people who are involved in the administration of the city, which comprises of the rulers like kings, nobles, priests, and their ministers, who are called as the administrators. That means these group of people are involved in the administration part of the city. And the fourth category of the people are the poor laborers and the soldiers who serve others. So this is about the lifestyle and the profession of the people of the Harappa. Most of these people, they will not be cultivating the land or growing the crops. Children, in the beginning they know only the cultivation and the agricultural part, but later, because of picking up the different types of livelihood, all of them were not involved in the growing of the crops. So ultimately they were dependent upon the farmers for the crops and for other animal based products like milk and meat, which were produced by the herders. So there was a kind of an exchange which was taking place between the farmers and between the people of the other profession. In those days, children, the currency was not there. So the people used to exchange the goods. Either for paying the taxes, they will be giving the products which are made by them. That means the artisans will be giving the crafts and the handicrafts and the items which are made by them, and the farmers will be paying the taxes in the form of the share of their agricultural produce. Whatever they have grown, they will be sharing it with the government in the form of the taxes. And similarly, if they want to buy any item, they will be exchanging it with the food grains. For the food grains, they will be taking the other items from the people of the other profession. That is, for the goods and services, there was the exchange of the items. Thus, in the early times, most of the people probably lived in the villages or in the forest. Villages in sense wherein they have moved in with their group, and some people were living in the forest. I mean the people who are still living the life of the hunter and the food gatherers were living in the forest. Now let us learn about the planning, the town planning of the Harappan cities. There are some different features of the cities, and the towns were developed in an entirely different style. So let us learn about the town planning of the Harappan cities. Here children, with the help of these pictures, you can see that the buildings in the Harappan cities were built with the good baked bricks of a standard size and shape. Can you see children? Here the buildings are made with the bricks of the standard size and shape. And talking about the town planning, you can see that they have a clear layout. That means they have the straight roads which are intersecting with each other like a chessboard. Can you see here children? There is a straight road, and in between you are finding some intersecting roads like a chessboard. And in those days children, they were having the drainage system as well. Yes, so the idea of the drainage system is somewhere around 5000 years ago. Here you can see children that the roads are having the drains. That means all the waste water from the houses are going through this drainages to the outside of the city. Nowadays also we have a drainage system, but it is through the pipelines and it is under the ground, whereas in those days it was an open drainage system, but the water used to run out of the houses. So this was about the town planning children. Now let us learn about the important public buildings. If you will look at the sites of the Harappan children, you can see that it is clearly divided into two clear sections. One is on the higher citadel. You can see here children, in this higher citadel, the people of the higher ranks like rulers, nobles, priests and the administrators are living. Can you see children here? And these higher citadel comprises of some important public buildings like granaries. Granaries means a storehouse for storing the food grains. In the times of the need, that is during the time of natural calamities like floods or drought conditions, if the people are not having at that time the food grains which was given to the king as a taxes will be stored in these granaries, and it will be used to serve the people in the times of the need. So these in the higher citadel you can find some important buildings like granaries. There are some halls for performing some yagnas, for having some get-togethers, or if the people from the other far off land comes there, they will be conducting the meetings. For that they are having the halls. And you will find some large buildings, and these large buildings belongs to the nobles, rulers and the administrators. This was about the one section of the city, that is which is located on the higher citadel. Now let us talk about the second section of the city, which seemed to be the lower part. In this lower part, you will be finding some residential blocks wherein the people like artisans, traders and other ordinary people will be living. So the whole city is divided into two parts. One is the higher citadel and second is the lower part. So we can assume that the administrators who are there on a higher citadel, from there they will be monitoring the people who are living in the lower section, and from the above, if they find that there is a need for the development in the city, they will be taking the decisions related to it. Don't you think this kind of a town planning is really amazing, children? These are the times when the modern architecture was not yet developed. As told earlier, children, we can assume from this that the rulers are living on the higher citadel and they want to distinguish themselves from the ordinary people. They want to show that they are superior to the ordinary people, and that's the reason they are living on the higher citadel. And you can also assume that by being on the higher citadel, or you can even assume that by being on the higher citadel, they can make some important plans for the development of the cities. So this was all about the town planning of the Harappa. Now let us learn about the kinds of artisans. I already told you, children, the profession was divided into 4 types. So among those professions, one of them was the artisans. Now let us learn about the kind of the artisans which were there in those times. One among those artisans were the people who were making the bricks and the buildings. The brick makers are probably the potters and the masons who are constructing the houses. And Harappan potters produced some of the finest pots made in the Indian history, and they made a large variety of clay pots and toys. Now talking about the metals, children, nowadays we are having many metals which are available, but in those days the people were having idea only about the few metals. So now let us learn about the metals which were known by the people of Harappa. The people of Harappa extensively used the objects which are made of different kinds of metals like copper, silver, tin, etc. And the mixed metals like bronze also was available. So these are some of the metals which was used by the people of Harappa. They did not use iron, which came into the use in India much later. Copper, being a rare metal, had limited use. Well, compared to that time, children, we are very blessed that we have an idea about the large number of metals. But with the limited metals, they had made some very beautiful products which you can see here. Harappan continued to use stone and wood for most of their daily needs. See, children, you can see some figures here. They were using the stone and the wood and the mud for making the items for their day-to-day needs. They used very fine and long stone blades for cutting and some finely carved stone seals for trading. That means for selling it to the other places. They were making some beautiful items out of these stones, and that they were trading with the other cities or with the other people. You can also see, children, some beautiful and the colorful polished stone beads are used for making the ornaments. Can you see here, children? A bangle and some jewelry is made, and even they use some stone weights and measures for trading, and they wove some cotton. They used some stone weights and measures for trading. These are the weighing machines, children, which are used in those days by those people. These are made of stones. Isn't it beautiful, children? Are we using this kind of a weighing machines these days? No, isn't it? We are using the electronic weighing machines, but these are the weighing machines which was used by the people in those days. And they used to weave their clothes using cotton and woolen. Cotton and woolen are the natural fibers. That means we can procure it from the nature. So they were making the clothes using the cotton which is grown in the farms, and using the woolen which can be procured from the ship. So this is about the artisans which was prevailing in those days. Now let us learn about, apart from that, children, they were using the seashells. The shells which you find near the seas, they were using it, and with that also they were making some beautiful objects for their daily use like ladles, spoons and bangles. Ladles and the spoons we will use in the kitchen, children, for serving of the food, and the bangles are the jewelry for the females. So they were making it using the seashells. That means whatever is available in the nature, children, they were using it wisely as per their requirements. The use of the seals and the weights indicate that the Harappan cities had a large number of traders who took merchandise from one place to another. Here children, you can see that different types of weighing machines are used, and these also the archaeologists have found it. So based upon that, we concluded that in those days there were many traders who were collecting the goods from one place to another place, and they were selling and buying it from each other. In fact, they used to go by ships to trade in distant lands like Iraq, where too many cities had developed, and they must have used bullock carts and boats to transport their goods. In those days children, they were not having the means of transport the way we are having today. So for traveling from one place to another, they were either going by the ships, most of the times they were going on foot, and sometimes they were using the bullock carts with the invention of wheel. Now children, let us learn about the language which was spoken in those days. Here children, we did not find any kind of a book written by the Harappan people, but we have some small inscriptions on the seals. Here can you see children? Can you read it? We cannot read it. Why? Because it is not having a script. We are having English script, Telugu script and Hindi script, but here children, we are not having the script, so we cannot read it. They were using some figures to communicate with each other, and hence we do not know what language they spoke, and if they spoke any common language at all, we also don't know what were the common names which were used by them. What was the common language and what were the names which was used commonly? We don't know children. So here comes your activity children. You have to write the names of some festivals which is celebrated in the different parts of our country, and you have to explain the relationship between the festivals and the seasons. Yes, why do we celebrate a particular festival during a particular season? That also you have to explain. Now moving further towards our lesson, let us learn about the religion. As you know children, India is a multi-religious country, and people worship gods and goddesses in many ways. Some of us will offer some flowers, incense sticks, prasadam in the form of the fruits and sweets etc. to our sacred idols. And some perform yagnas, some chant holy hymns silently, and some do not worship any idols. That means they do not believe in the idol worship, they do not believe in any form of the, I repeat, they do not believe in the shape of the God. They will be thinking that the God is everywhere and they will be worshipping the God. And some people never pray at all. So depending upon that, let us learn about the religion in the Indus Valley civilization. While excavations children, our archaeologists found some figurines. They did not find any kind of a temple children, but they found some beautiful figurines of the goddess, and based upon that they believed that the people used to worship Mother Goddess, and they were worshipping the nature in the form of the trees like people, and they also probably worshipped some animals. They even found the pictures of some male gods, and they assumed that they were similar to Shiva, which was worshipped in the later times in various parts of India. From other pictures, it seems that the people of the Indus took out processions carrying banners in the honor of their gods during festival times. Isn't it children? In the present times also we take out the jatara for particular gods and goddesses. So in the olden days also they were also taking out the processions carrying the pictures of their gods and goddesses and carrying the banners of their gods and goddesses. Now let us learn about some of the rulers of the Harappan civilization. Since most of the cities were spread over a large area and they had many features in common, it was suggested that there was no particular ruler. Yes children, in those days they were not having the greediness of the expansion. They all wanted to live in the group. So they were considering one powerful person or an old age person as a leader, and he was considered as a central authority who was regulating all the things related to the group. However children, we did not find about any of the king or the priest or the group of the elected leaders in those days. They probably lived in the higher citadels and they regulated the life of all the city dwellers from there. So it was considered that the people who were living on the higher citadels are considered as the leaders, and the people who are living in the lower sections were considered as the ordinary people. That means these people were taking all the important decisions related to the people living in the lower sections. Now children, with the times this civilization has disappeared. So let us learn about how this civilization was disappeared. It appears that somewhere around 700 years, that is after the great Harappan cities developed, most of the towns were declined. Many traders and artisans found that their production is declined and people started moving out of the cities to the different villages. In fact, some historians believed that many rivers which flow through these civilizations was dried up, and that's the reason people started shifting further eastward, that is towards Ganga river, and they mingled with the people, that is the farming and the herding people who were already living there. They started going and mingling with them. And however, with this, the great cities of Harappan culture gradually disappeared forever, or we can say that they are buried under the mud. And it was in this early 20th century when archaeologists began a systematic study of these lost civilizations. So children, this is a journey of our ancient Indian history. I hope you all found it very interesting. Now let us have a quick recapitulation of what all we learned today. Today we learnt about the origin of the Indus Valley civilization. Then we learnt about the main occupations of the people of that civilization. We learnt about the metals used by them, town planning, the religious beliefs of those people, their administration system, and finally the disappearance of the civilization. Children, here comes your assignment. Here are your questions. Please note down in your notebooks. You have to explain about the Harappan culture. You have to describe the lifestyle of the Indus Valley civilization. You have to write the characteristics of cities. You have to write the greatness of the urban development of the Indus Valley civilization, and you have to locate the Indus River and its tributaries on the map of India. Along with this, children, please practice the worksheets which are published by SCRT, and you can procure these worksheets from the official website of SCRT. So children, I hope you found this journey of ancient Indian history very interesting. Well, I'll meet you again with the next